Good morning, everybody, and this is your S&P 500 day trade setup for today. Right now, Asian session, we are breaking some fairly strong structure. We have broken the head and shoulders as well, so neckline is all the way up here. We do have a bit of a range forming, sorry, not range, a bit of a channel forming. It is fairly interesting at the moment. I don't like the way the oscillators are at the moment. Definitely not willing to jump in short at the moment. I would prefer a pullback onto structure before jumping in short, and that structure at the moment for me is back at 44.50, which is relatively far away from where we are. But just look to the left and you can see we're in an area of potential support, which is right where we are now, which is 43.95, 4400. So 4400, just by the way, is a fairly strong area. You can see lots of buyers coming in this zone. For me right now, we want to wait for pullback before jumping in. And there's just one other thing that I want to highlight at the moment, and that is we are pretty much heading to the 38.2 Fibonacci of the move. Doesn't really mean much. To me, the 50 and the 61.8 is the area to pay attention to. Look how far away they are, but that is pretty much the areas that you need to pay attention to. So, let's just get rid of the noise. Let's just get down to the time frames we can trade. So you can see the week started off with a bit of a pin bar off structure, and that structure was the 155 EMA. So break of that level, as we spoke about, was the area to be short, and that did happen fairly early in the session, and we've been one-way traffic since then. We now have a pretty solid crossover of the moving averages. We're getting the third crossover happening at the moment, but don't want to be jumping in short down here. I want to wait for the pullback. I want to wait for a rejection of or an area that was support flipped into resistance. So in other words, I want a retest of a break of support. So that is up here. There's no other area I can see that is actually valid for me. So yeah, narrative doesn't change on the hour. This is the area we are paying attention to, and you can probably just fine tune a little bit. So you've got a zone here of what was support, which you're looking to be resistance. That's 44.60 and 44.52. So there's a 10-point zone basically that you're looking for price to bounce back into this area. We've got a gap just above us, and bear in mind we've got a weekly gap as well. So just keep that in the back of your mind as well. So that weekly gap, which is there, we tried to get there yesterday, it didn't work out. But that weekly gap is still very much in play as well, which would line up with the 155, and you can see how we've respected the 155 EMA. So really not interested in jumping short here. Looking for pullback onto structure before jumping in short. Also not looking to be short on an hour chart with this. Looking to be short on a 15-minute chart. And if you get to the 15-minute chart, you start adding other levels in. And here is the first area, which would be 44.30. So that was a break of structure late in the session, didn't really come back and test it. So 44.30 would be an area to jump in short again on the 15-minute. Otherwise, you're looking to get back to 44.60, 44.50 area. Failing that, then this magnet all the way up the top here, which is 44.90, which is the gap. So pay attention. The other thing to bear in mind is you do have a situation where we are going parabolic. Oh yeah, just give me one sec. Hate it when it doesn't line up like I want it to. Anyway, so when we talk going parabolic, you can see it was a trend, and now we've sort of gone steeper from the trend to the downside. This to me is a grouping. There's no real structure to the left at the moment, but this is an area where I need to be paying attention, because the possibility of a long scalp up here also starts manifesting itself. But we'll have to wait for some structure in the European session. if we get some price action in the European session, then there's definitely an opportunity. So you've got to keep your stops really tight. But as usual, that is against the trend. So what we're looking for is a pullback onto structure. So 15-minute chart, you're looking 44.20, and then you're looking 44.30. That would line up with these trend lines at the moment. If we get above this, then I would expect to move back into this zone here at 44.50 area. But that still is the upper end of the downtrend line, or the downward trend, should I rather say. Anyway, that's kind of me at the moment. I still believe this is a channel. Lots of noise, as you can see when we zoom out and look at all the levels we're looking at. But it's important to pay attention to them so you know what's happening. Don't want to be jumping in short with those oscillators. They're all grouped to the downside, so you want to wait for structure to the upside before looking at this. And obviously 43.90 is a reasonably strong area to find support if you look to the left. Okay, so just pay attention to that, because that is your first area. Then each one of these tails on the 8-hour, or if you really want to get into it on the daily, would offer support as well. And if you look at the daily, this is looking quite interesting when they start separating like this. The flag starts becoming a little bit more of a probability, but we're still far away from that. Okay, anyway, nice pullback. Watch out your Fibonacci levels as well, as I showed you in the beginning of the video. That is something you need to pay attention to. But again, above and below all the moving averages on the daily as well, the market is really confused as to what direction it needs to go at the moment. And you need to be very cautious about what you're doing at the moment. Anyway, that's kind of my view today. I hope it helps, and we will catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.